Is the first 10 ayat of Surah Al-Kahf will be protected against the trial of the false Messiah. You know why his trial is the greatest? Because Allah the Almighty will give him the means of test. When he claims that I'm the Lord and I give life and I give death, and he ordered the sky to drop its rain and the earth to produce its fruits and vegetations, and they all comply, it will be a big test. Most of mankind will follow him and will worship him, but very few will be saved. Amongst those who will be saved, those who will memorize the first 10 ayat of Surah Al-Kahf. In another narration, the last 10 ayat of Surah Al-Kahf. Who is willing to memorize the whole surah? Raise your hand. If you're willing to memorize the whole surah, Surah Al-Kahf. Isn't it worth it? Raise your hand. I want everyone to raise their hands. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Underestimating yourself. The unwillingness to do because you think that is too much. I'm overwhelmed with too many things. Just say inshallah. And that is also stated in Surah Al-Kahf. Many of us get carried away. And sometimes whenever we're stuck, we give opinions, personal opinions, as if it presents the deen. And look at this, into this particular story. Surah Al-Kahf contains 4 stories which have not been mentioned anywhere in the Quran, but only in the surah. But Allah the Almighty chose the story of these youth to name this surah after. You know, as the Sheikh said, when the Jews passed on a few questions to the Meccan chiefs and said, ask this guy these questions. If he answers then he's a true prophet. If he fails to answer, then he's a liar. Do as you wish with him. So they returned back to Mecca and he asked the Prophet ﷺ about Ar-Ruh, about Dhul Qarnayn, about the people of the cave. What did the Prophet ﷺ do? He said, غَدًا أُجِيبُكُمْ. Tomorrow I shall answer you. Why did he say so? Number one, because the Prophet ﷺ would not deliver an answer unless if there is a wahy. In Surah Al-Najm, Allah the Almighty says, وَمَا يَنطِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. He does not utter a word of his whim on his own. Rather, it is simply a revelation that has been revealed unto him, including the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When one of the companions used to write his ahadith, some of the elders say, do not write what he says, because he sometimes does not mean it's a revelation or a legislation. So he came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, Ya Rasulullah, I used to write down what you say, but Quraysh forbade me and said this and this and that. The Prophet ﷺ said, Uktub. It was Abdullah ibn Amr. Resume writing down what you hear from me, since by Allah, nothing comes from between these two lips but the truth. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He didn't say or suggest an answer. He said, I don't know, but tomorrow I shall answer you. Tomorrow passed by. Next day, next week, 15 days. Every day they would come to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and would tease him and say, what happened? Where is your friend? Where is your angel? Where is your shaitan? Did he abandon you? Still, under this tremendous pressure, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not suggest an answer. He's waiting for the wahy. And when the wahy came with the answer to all the questions, the Prophet ﷺ asked him, what kept you so long? What kept you late? What took you so long, Ya Jibreel? He said, وَمَا نَتَنَزَّلُ إِلَّا بِأَمْرِ رَبِّكَ. Even Jibreel ﷺ said, I do not make a move but by his leave. And after all the answers were revealed, Allah the Almighty addressed the Prophet ﷺ saying, وَلَا تَقُولَنَّ لِشَيْءٍ إِنِّي فَاعِلٌ ذَلِكَ غَدًا إِلَّا أَن يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ. Don't you ever say, I shall do that tomorrow, or even the next minute in the future, because the future is entirely His, except by saying, Insha'Allah. What if you forget? وَاذْكُرْ رَبَّكَ إِذَا نَسِيتَ. Even a few hours later, a few days later, you remember that you said, I shall travel, I shall study, I shall buy this, I shall marry to this person, and you forgot to say Insha'Allah, say it afterward. وَاذْكُرْ رَبَّكَ إِذَا نَسِيتَ. Do not say to anything in the future, I shall do, except by saying, Inshallah. It's a very important lesson, especially for the youth to learn. Those youth brothers and sisters whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala admired in the Quran, according to the great commentator of the Quran, Ibn Kathir, Al-Hafiz Ibn Kathir, number one, they belong to very noble families. They were very rich, high society. So they were well off. They were not running away from their country out of desperation or looking for a job. No, they were living a very happy life. But they were not content with the fact that their people were worshiping idols. And they wanted them to join them in worshiping idols. They didn't say, we belong to our community, we just go with the flow, we do as people do. No. The Prophet ﷺ says in the hadith, لا يكن أحدكم إمعة. You should not be tails, just following people blindly. What kind of imma'a? What does it mean, the word imma'a? He explains, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, saying, he says, I'm like the people. I'm one of the people. In ahsan al-nasu ahsant. Wa in asa'u asat. If people do good, I'm one of them. I follow them. I go with the flow. I do like them exactly. And if they do bad, I still go with the flow. I do like them. The Prophet ﷺ forbade that, and he said, rather, لِيُوَطِّنَنَّ أَحَدُكُمْ نَفْسَهُ. Each and every one of us should train himself to be a leader, to lead people to goodness and righteousness. The youth, you have to develop this leadership in your mind through contemplating the leadership and the reward for the righteous leadership, and asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be righteous leaders, no matter what it takes. Not because you love the leadership, you love to be known, rather to claim the responsibility which Allah the Almighty entrusted you with. To be followed, so that everyone who follows you in doing goodness and righteousness, you shall receive a similar word of theirs without diminishing the reward of either one of you. In the hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, الدال على الخير كفاعله. Whoever guides people to goodness shall receive the reward of everyone who will act upon his guidance, who will follow him without diminishing the reward of either one of them. Those youth, as Al-Hafiz Ibn Kathir said, may Allah have mercy on him, did not know each other before. They did not meet before. And each one of them accepted faith secretly and kept it this way, because they were afraid of persecution which could reach to death. And this is a normal price for faith, for belief. To be persecuted, to be tortured, to be thrown in prison, even to get killed for the sake of your faith, that is normal. And this is not something only happening today, but it happened ever since Allah sent the first prophet to mankind.